Hello and welcome. You're viewing the Citizens Journalist podcast, Mesa County Compass, that brings you the news that you can use from a different point of view. I'm Ruth.
I'm Lisa.
And together we are Mesa County Compass. Our goal is to create an informed, current, active citizenry armed with the facts. We will be covering what's new to you, what it means to you, what you can do about it, and provide you access to the decision makers when we can. Okay, good afternoon. We're here with Mesa County Compass, and today we are having our third installment of candidates for school board. As you see, we have Angela here, but Vicki Wood chose not to come. Her official excuse was scheduling, review, and family time. But privately, she said this wasn't a safe space for her campaign. Funny thing about leadership, it's not supposed to be safe. If you can't handle honest questions, how do you handle tough decisions? Welcome, Angela and Will.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for the invite.
And part of the reason that we have both Angela and Will is we don't know a whole lot about Vicki except for what we've seen in other forums. And Will was at a forum a couple of nights ago at the library, put on by the Mesa County Democratic Women, that seemed to, it wasn't a good feel for how an election should be conducted. So what were some of the things, Will, that you presented, and how was it received?
There was a few things that were presented. I get that you're running a forum, which I understand everybody's entitled to do their own opinion, but I feel like when you have a forum and you are leading it or running it or working it or whatever, you should probably keep your opinions and your jeers and your facial things to yourself. And when I'm talking about things about wins for the district and what we're real proud of, there was some facial, little snickering back and forth between two of the ladies that were up the front, and it just didn't feel right. And it just, I'm okay with you disagreeing, but the things that come with it just aren't necessary. But Mrs. Woods and her ending remarks made some comments and some rebuttals about our wins and victories, and I kind of want to help kind of set them straight a little bit. She mentioned that the district was proud of where we're at with our education, and as you know, we are celebrating our victories with our kids, our schools being in the top tiers of our education with testing and things like that and above the state, and we are very proud of it. And as she stated that it started in 2017, well, upon some research, 2017 we had many schools in the lower level, so we were improving slightly, but not enough to where we were celebrating about it. And also, we were also in 2018, we had another 5 schools that needed to be an improvement. What we're celebrating is that all of our schools are where they need to be and above average and are beating the state. So that's a victory for us. An expectation is a goal. So the fact that we're celebrating those expectations, that's great. That's a goal we set. Now we are setting another goal for our 5-year strategic plan that we'd like all our schools to be in the top tier at 100%, the top 2 performance tiers in 5 years. And that's a goal that we set, and we're hopefully happy to meet that goal. Another thing she said is that we are celebrating the fact that we are being fiscally responsible, but a bunch of that money was COVID dollars. Well, whether those COVID dollars or money that was received to us, we are celebrating the fact that we have spent those responsibly. We've made sure that everything is taken care of, our programming, our employees, and all the things, and we want to make sure that our general fund stays where it's at, our reserve stays where it's at. We set a goal of, I believe it was 18%, and we've achieved that goal, and that's where we wanted to set. We don't want to be like the districts that are filing for bankruptcy because they went through all their money that was given to them, and so that's why we're celebrating, is that we're being fiscally responsible with the money that you guys are giving us, the states are giving us, we're getting from our students, and we're able to retain our teachers and pay our teachers the money they need. So
that's can I throw in on that just a little bit? So when we came into the district almost 4 years ago, our reserves were down to 3%, which as the largest employer in Mesa County, that puts all of our employees in a very tough place should we have to make cuts. Mm-hmm. Yes, the way that we were able to increase those reserves very much was through that COVID money. I had a lot of very long conversations with our CFO about what we could use that money on, how we could use, and how we could not just spend it, haphazardly, like so many businesses and so many organizations did. But how can we best use that one-time money? I mean, where do you get reserves? Well, you get them because you have basically a surplus of what you need at a time. We knew at that point that going into the next several years, being funded from the state, the way that District 51 is very underfunded, and unfairly underfunded, may I add, that the chances of us being able to cut and save our way into having a surplus to be able to put in a savings account, essentially, which is our reserves, was highly unlikely. And this was a one-time opportunity that we were going to have these funds that we could essentially spend on some things that we didn't really need. Positions that we would then have to have a bunch of layoffs because that money would cease to continue to come in to fund those. So we made the determination to reroute some of those funds into building our reserves because we knew that moving forward these next few years we're going to get very tight. We didn't even realize, I mean, as much as we planned for the worst, it's been worse than that. And we have every reason to believe that the next several years are going to be equally, if not worse. If not even tougher than we had expected. So we felt that that was the most responsible long-term vision use of those funds. And that's why we did that. If we were to now use those funds in such a way,
teacher raises, for example.
So it's one-time money. That money is not going. There's nowhere to replenish that money from in the foreseeable future. If we take that out for raises, those are ongoing expenses. Once you give a raise, that's got to continue for all the years to come.
Right.
So, where's that money going to come from if it's already spent?
They can't pull back,
doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And while we're on that, can I just touch on that?
Absolutely.
For the past 4 years, I've been on the negotiations committee, and all three of the first 3 years, we came with maximums. So the teachers union will come in negotiations with their ask, and then we get to come back and say, well, here are the things that we want, and then there are about 3 months that we meet and try to hash through the details. It gives legal a chance. It gives HR a chance to look at what's being presented and tell us whether or not legally and financially if that will float and if we can do that. So we did that, and we actually found that we could offer a little more than what the union was asking for in raises. We truly wanted to maximize that. We had 2 goals. Number 1, get our starting teacher pay up to $50,000 starting. And by the way, it costs a lot more than $50,000 per teacher because of the generous benefits package that we offer between retirement and another thing that we've negotiated and worked really hard on was our healthcare program, getting that down to a more manageable cost, and then keeping it at a more manageable cost while costs are prices on that are just skyrocketing. So we wanted that starting teacher pay to reach 50,000 because we knew we needed that to attract, and it's the right thing to do. It's a fair market wage for our area and our cost of living and that sort of thing. The other thing was bring back steps and lanes, which is the pay scale that we use for teachers. And teachers were very excited about that. They wanted it back. And there were months of work that went into that with HR and finance to make sure that we could float that. So we felt that we could do that. We went back to that. Everybody was really happy. So we maximized the amount of raises that we were able to give the teachers and put them back on a pay scale that they were happy with. Now we have to be able to maintain that. And those increases are only guaranteed if we continue to get more money from the state budget. This year, they sort of midstream cut what they said they were going to do. We were afraid we were looking at a $9 million deficit from last year. So the fact that we got 1.8 was better, but not enough to do both a step and a lane. So we've really, as a board, we have highly prioritized getting teacher pay to where it needed to be, and then being able to maintain it. I have to say, as one of the board members that was on the negotiating committee this year, it killed me to know that we were not going to be able to honor that earned step. It's about $3.5 million for a step. We got 1.8. You could kind of do.
It's not going to work.
It's just not sustainable. And we want people to feel safe, valued for sure,
Right.
and safe in their job with the district.
And if you go into bankruptcy like you suggested, what does happen to the teachers? What does happen to the school district? You have to be
Well, and speaking
responsible.
speaking with some teachers that were here during those years when they took away steps and lanes, and those years that got us down to a terrifying level of reserves at 3%, there were furlough days, there were layoffs. Nobody felt secure in their position or their job, and that's not a healthy. That's not a healthy.
You can't go into
worker.
teaching a student, any student, and feel like you're in jeopardy every moment.
Very unsettling. Yes.
So I'm looking at some of the things that Vicki had mentioned, and either one of you, if you want to comment, this is just from her website and her goals. She said, the district deserves we deserve a high performing school district. And I'm like, so what has been happening in our school district since you came on board? It's been increasing in its performance. So what does that mean to you that she said we deserve a high performing district? That she would be able to do differently than what you two on the board are already doing?
Well, I don't want to speak for what she meant by that. But I can speak to what we've done and what the intention and the focus has been on. We came onto this board looking at a district that was almost broke. We didn't understand how broke until we found out that we were also, over $600 million behind in deferred maintenance on our buildings and on our facilities. That was a huge hit. The other thing that we were unaware of was the degree of declining enrollment, not only that they had been experiencing since COVID, and we didn't know how much of that was just a COVID phenomenon, but then we found out it wasn't about COVID. It was about the decrease in births. And it's nationwide, it's worldwide. We're not the only ones going through this problem, but that was another blow to being able to become a high-performing district. We had to juggle, the focus on getting our test scores up, doing what we can and what's best for students and our staff, alongside with how do we juggle the oncoming train wreck of financial issues that we are going to have to contend with. So I couldn't have been more thrilled. And this wasn't a huge surprise because we've seen, growth is going to precede performance. We know that, and we've been seeing the growth happen every step of the way. So we highly expected to see those performance increases show up in our scoring. But I have to say, I am particularly proud of the work. And I want to also mention something that I think is really important. When I say we're proud of the work that we've done, I am not talking about the board. I mean, we've all worked our tails off. We've worked this thing like it's a full-time job, even though we have full-time jobs and all of that. And it's an unpaid position, which I am happy about. I think it should be an unpaid position. But it has been a true team effort. It has truly been, and we came on, remember, this is all new people. Doug Levinson was the only one in the whole group that had really spent any time in the district and then on the board. Dr. Hill was new in the position of superintendent, although he'd been assistant soup. He had not been privy to a lot of the challenges that were facing us at that time. We had a new board. 4 of the 5 were new to the board. We had a new CFO. Mela was just new into that position, although she'd been in that part of the district forever. We had a new chief operations officer, and we had a new lawyer. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's
a lot of
That's a lot of new.
of fresh new people coming into this. And we knew that we had to move. We, as a new chief academics officer, that was the other one. Gosh, who could forget that?
Sorry, Jen.
Yep.
Jen, we know how hard you work. We see it all the time. But we all came together and really hunkered down as a cohesive team to figure out what our challenges were and how to best approach all of those things. So we had this whole new leadership team, but then we got out into schools as well. And many of those schools, as we've discussed here before, were a little freaked out to have a board member come into the school. Well, why are you here? Well, we've never seen a board member come out to our school before. And we've visited all of the schools at least once, and many of them multiple times. And we talked to teachers, and we talked to school admin. And when I say we, I mean we. I mean the custodians, the people that run the food services. We have all come together and had meetings and conversations that were ongoing. And so it is not just a board achievement. It is truly an achievement of the entire district.
So when I look at one of the comments, I don't know, Will, if you remember this, that Casey made when she was here, is she said, well, we need a fresh perspective. I think you guys started with a real fresh perspective with all of that. And so 4 years in, you've had lots of achievements. And is it time to change the leadership?
Or do you still have goals that you want to meet?
Well, we have a brand new strategic plan that's full of new goals that we are positioned to be able to just keep going forward on. I wouldn't be doing this again, or signing up and going for, trying to do this again, if I didn't think that we would make exponential progress. It takes a good year to 2 years to truly, if you want to really get into this position and truly learn from operations to finance. There are so many facets of a district that is the largest employer in the county. There are so many facets to it. And in order to do that, it takes time. And so I know that we can we'll just keep going. I mean, we're on a train right now that is barreling down the track that's, I think, got a great journey, and I think the destination is going to be even better. And there's no slowing the train down. There's no stopping for anything. We just keep moving forward on a proven successful route.
And just give us a couple of the strategic goals that you guys have planned for the next 4 years.
Well, it is very heavy about it continuing to increase the academics and the student outcomes. For me, that's the most important thing. Without that, the rest of it is truly secondary. So it really is about, like Will had mentioned, getting that fly. It really is about getting all of our schools into that performance level.
Graduation rate.
Our graduation rate is fantastic right now. It's one of the highest I've seen. That makes us very, very happy. But we know that if we've been able to achieve this thus far, we keep going and we will achieve more.
Well, and it was interesting today, I was listening to the news and they were complaining that graduating seniors, so we know that school boards and local school districts, we have a lot of control here, but nationwide they were saying 1 in 3 people that graduate from high school can't read. And so it's important, you know, that academic be the emphasis.
Yeah. Our academics department, I'm so impressed with those folks. They are so concerned with making sure that exact thing does not happen. We don't want to put kids out, and it was, you know, it's something that I talked about when I ran 4 years ago that I had experienced firsthand having a post-secondary school, was kids were coming out of D51, and I won't say they couldn't read, but
Definitely handicapped.
there were some major hurdles to overcome with their math and language skills. So it is knowing, after having worked with these people so intensely the last 3.5 years, knowing their approach and how important rigor is to them, I feel very confident that we will continue. Look, are we there yet?
Nope.
We're not there yet. We know that.
Close.
Everybody knows that.
Right.
I believe you have to keep your eye on the prize, right? You've got to keep your eye on that end goal. You also, it's really important. It's important to our teachers. It's important to our students, our building staff, and then of course our senior leadership and upper admin. It's so important to everyone to be able to continue. This is a heavy lift. And to be able to continue that, to get all the way to the goal, you have to have some good celebrations of your wins along the way. So I'm a firm believer in celebrate your wins along the way. Don't rest back on your laurels of what you've already accomplished. Always keep moving for more. That does not mean that you don't take a minute to look back and say,
Look how far we've come.
no wonder I'm tired.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but it's worth it.
Right.
It's worth it because look what we did.
Well, I want to ask both of you on this. Another thing that she says is she wants to include every voice, families, students, educators, leadership, all pulling in the same direction. So do you feel like that has not been happening up to this point during your tenure? Is there anybody that you're leaving out? Or
No, I think we've done a better job of it. I think there's been, there might have been some laxes in communication before, but I think the proof is in the pudding, with the scores the way they are and the test scores, everything is achieving. And I think that the way the people are making themselves more, because we're always open, we're always for conversations. And so.
How many times a week do you have coffee? We drink a lot of coffee.
A lot of coffee, a lot of tea.
Drink a lot of
But I
coffee.
think, we made ourselves more accessible, and we've also helped making other people more accessible, which I think that leads to more success. That we're holding people accountable. If we're not able to get a hold of those teachers, then we're charging our superintendent with talking to his area directors talking to those principals. Then those principals are talking to those teachers. So I think that it's been more accessible, and the communication line has opened up a lot more. Do we have to work on it? Yeah, who doesn't? But I think that there's just those things, everybody having a voice in it, from the student to the teacher to the therapist to the principal, so everybody's achieving on the same level. So
Will and I were just out at Palisade High School before we came here, meeting with students. And
Nice.
next week, I'll be at 3 more high schools. You're at 2 or 3. And we do that a couple of times a year. Get out, meet with student groups, check, and it's just us. We go in, two board members, group of students, closed door, give them carte blanche to say whatever they want, talk about whatever is important to them, and we learn a lot. And we were just talking today about some of the things that we were able to take back to the principal that he wasn't aware of. Good things, things that are really working, and maybe some things that they'd like to see work a little better. And he wouldn't have known that if that different communication.
If you were
hadn't
still
been there.
sitting in the ivory tower,
Yeah.
that would not happen.
I wouldn't even say, I get that. I just don't know of any of our principals right now. I've seen them in action. They are so tuned into their students and their staff and what's going on in their buildings. But there's always a little bit of hesitation. Ooh, he's the principal. Do I dare say? Do I just dare share this information? I'll share it with you, though. You go share it.
Yeah. Well, and it's true. Isn't that how everybody
Everybody
operates?
is.
It's, I want somebody that can share how I feel so I don't get in trouble with what I'm saying.
Well,
I think it's a great idea.
I think a great answer to the question you just asked was, we asked the kids today, do you feel a sense of belonging? Because that's our biggest thing. We want to know if our kids feel welcome, they feel at home. And there was a diverse group of kids in there. It wasn't just one
How
group.
did they choose them? Do you know?
I'm not sure. I know there was a sophomore. There's
They all
there's
do
different
it
grades.
different. We let the schools
Yeah,
kind
they
of
decided
handle
that.
that.
So
Okay.
there was a different, there was some different kids in there, different varieties, and so it's a nice, and they all said that they feel great. They feel like the teachers are happier teaching. They feel like they go home and share things with their families. They feel wanted. They like the way they walk into school and a teacher can walk up and say, Mr. Jones, how you doing today? Or Mr. Jones, get your butt to class, or Mr. What are you doing in the hallway? But they're that personal touch.
Yeah.
That they can reach. They feel like they're wanted. They feel like they actually matter.
It's love,
So,
not
yeah,
not necessarily all tough love.
It is.
but
And
love.
so we were talking about, Palisades is one of our smaller high schools. And I was in Grand Junction High School a couple of times the last few weeks. We'd had some concerns that had just been brought up about the amount of students and a little bottlenecking at one point in the hallways and how long they were bottlenecked in that position. So I just went to check it out myself. And Principal Sorensen and I walked up to the top and I videoed it and timed it to both times, just to make sure that I could really see what was happening there. But what I was so impressed with is it is a large student body there.
It is.
And he knew those kids as they would come by. He just knew them, and you could tell it felt very personal. It didn't feel like they were in a huge high school and they were just another student. Which is
Very
nice.
important.
Yeah, very important.
It's important that people know your name. Then you feel like they know me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we are bad as adults, and kids are equally as bad, if not worse. They need that personal touch.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm going to go into something that I know it's touchy, but when I look at how your campaigns are being funded, and it says, this is on Vicky's website again, and it says in Colorado, local school board elections are nonpartisan. And yet, Vicky has backing from, and this is just right on there, No Kings, and their post was, join us in a march against the dangerous, incompetent administration. That to me does not feel like it's a campaign when you're saying, join us in a demonstration against incompetent, dangerous. They're saying that the people that are on the school board and the administration are dangerous
people.
And I have never heard that from the supporters that you all have. Another thing that they were saying in there is, well, I'm changing my march that was going to have you bring in all your balance to participating in Indivisible. And Indivisible is also something that goes against conservative values, for sure, and is backed by big money. And the third one, they've got the Democratic Party, where the Democratic Party, I know the Republican Party also did a forum, but it feels like people were more comfortable in participating in the Republican forum than the Democratic Forum. Would you agree with that, Will? That
I think so. I mean, yeah,
I
there's
mean-
not as much. I mean, like I said, everybody's entitled to how they believe or what they want to believe in. And I just think when you're doing it, you have to stay neutral. Whether you believe in what I said or didn't believe what I said, or you agree with something or you don't agree, you know. And as I said, I was grateful that, you know, that the claps of, you know, when I spoke about something and people clapped in this audience, and not everybody acted the way they acted, but you know, I just, if it's nonpartisan, it's nonpartisan. You can have your viewpoint, but just when you're doing things like that, just leave it to yourself, because it just doesn't.
it doesn't reflect well on your groups, and it isn't the spirit of what we're trying to achieve. We're trying to achieve a school district that is for the community. It's for the community. It's the liaison between the community and the administration.
Well, that's kind of the things that were coming up for me in the first part of your questioning about it being nonpartisan and about bringing in these other groups, outside groups and such. For me, it's truly about, this is not a political position for me. I'm not really interested in that. I'm interested in getting the district to have the best outcomes for students that we possibly can. I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican or an independent or whatever else you might choose to be. All groups need an educated populace. The higher the better.
Yes.
Right? I mean, the more educated and the more, especially that foundational education that our community should be getting from grades K through 12. I think we've got enough to worry about right there. So I've spent the last 4 years being pretty apolitical in that way, that when it comes to the work I'm doing with the district on the school board, it's just not about any of that. It's truly about how do we get these kids a better experience, a better education, and then how do we maintain an organization that has happy employees that are going to continue to give more to the students so that the students get more, right? I mean, that's that big cycle. So for me, you know, nonpartisan just means that you're not going to put an R or a D behind your name.
I understand.
Exactly right.
But you don't act.
That's what the basis of conservatism is. It's not Republican or Democrat. It is a traditional institution. It's not either political, either side.
Well, I think it just, this work really needs to be guided by strong principles.
Yes.
And again, the goal and then the principles that need to support that goal are about our students getting the very best education that we can provide to them. And we're going to do that by way of having the happiest staff we can have and the hardest working staff, which I think we do have, to be able to get us there. So I'm not going to complicate, or for me it would be a distraction.
Agreed.
This
Agreed.
really should be more of an apolitical position rather than just say it's nonpartisan. It should be all about the goal, which is achieving more for the students.
I like that. An apolitical position. It makes a lot more sense.
It does, indeed.
I do have to, you know, this is not dragging you into the conversation, but one of the concerns that I have is the backing of CEA for candidates. And the reason it's a concern for me is twofold. Is the questions that they ask are, do your values align with our values? And we will fund you. And that is a particular thing. Whenever you fund somebody, and I heard them say, no, that won't impact us, but that is not what the CEA expects from the candidates. They do not want to fund somebody that is not going to be able to achieve their goals. And I guess where I was concerned was when I looked at what the goals of the CEA are, and they can always say that this is not our goals, but these are issues that we care about. Education funding, which everybody cares about education funding, but
Right.
all you can do is keep saying, really, we could use more funding being put this way, and it's up to the legislature. Educator rights. Again, that does not seem to be putting the community and the students first. Educator rights. The third thing that they have is mental health, school safety, which we can all agree with, inclusion for LGBTQ plus educators and students, gun violence in schools, testing and accountability, and why elections matter. I don't see in that the high academic achievement as far as things we care about.
It doesn't have the students in mind.
It's what can we do for ourselves and pushing some agenda items, but not academic success. And you guys don't have to comment on that, but they do say that when you get the endorsement by the CEA, it comes with money, that they will fund campaigns and they will provide different types of support. So I question if they're saying, hey, you look like somebody we want to support because you follow our values, and they didn't ask any of you to be part of the group, then I would assume that it's because they don't think you support their values. And you don't have to
Don't
comment.
have to
I'm just telling you
It just-
that's a personal
We wanted to
opinion.
bring that forward.
Well, I mean, breaking it down to just something really foundational, and as it truly pertains to District 51 and what we're doing here in this community, I could not, in good conscience, take money from an organization that I have to go into collective bargaining with. I want to meet with them. I want to have dialogue. I want to have conversation. I want to work with them. But I cannot be beholden to, and it comes back to that expectation. I could even tell them that I'm not going to do that, but on their end, I believe that there's an expectation. And I'm not even going to risk having to, there's enough here to deal with. Trust me, just the budget alone is enough to have to deal with. I don't want to have to hear about or try to work with and maneuver around an expectation by somebody who thinks they bought and paid for my approach to any decision we have to make.
And I think that's good. Ruth, again.
No,
do you
I'm bouncing off of you. I hear you.
Yeah.
You're doing fine.
So anything that you all want to add? I think you've made some good arguments, and I think that you're both principled and have given your best to this. I kind of wonder, why would you want to be beholden to an organization when you don't get any pay? I mean, I would want to receive something in return, but that's just
You
me.
do
It's
get
kinda
it.
like-
You
it's-
get
it's
something
like I
in
told you-
return.
It's like I told you before. For me, the thank yous we get from the community and the kids that for the job we're doing, even the parents that walk over and say, "Hey, thank you for what you've done. Thank you for your time on the board. Thank you for your dedication to our kids."
We
That's-
see that,
that's- yeah,
like in
that's-
the parade at Fruta.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's thank you
People
enough.
just-
the people when they walk up and say, "Hey, thank you," or in the grocery store.
Well, I got
or,
an anonymous, a friend of mine sent me a text message late last night and said, "Hey, I just wanted you to know this and to hear this, that she had gotten this text from a friend who works in one of our schools, who's a teacher, just saying how grateful she was for the work that she knew that we had done as a board to honor the work that the teachers did and the pay increases that they've received and all of those things." And
Well, anybody that's worked in the district over the last 10, 12 years would definitely know
they
that.
definitely know the difference. And between that and the things like Will was saying, running into people in the grocery store, and it's so funny because people will more often than not say something like, have you lost your mind? We're going to sign up and do this again, because they, especially people that know us, know that there have been some tough days.
Yes.
Right? There's been the morning where you've had to make a decision and it's been announced, and you're going to wake up to some pretty strong emails, and your phone's going to be blowing up, and those kind of things.
They don't pay you enough for that grief,
Well,
Yeah.
and that's not why you do it.
I know.
It
I
truly
know.
is about doing this it is a service. It is a service back to the community, and
It's your heart.
it really is. And
You have a servant's heart. If
as
you
someone
sit in
who
this position.
was never blessed with their own children, I get that question a lot. People will say, we were doing some door knocking the other day, and the lady says, well, I don't have kids and I don't need to worry about it. And I said, oh, hang on.
Yeah.
Is that really true? Because we're still all in this community together. No one's an island. We don't all get to move that independently in this world. And it's important. I mean, it's one of, I just think, the most important things, and something that public education is supposed to be about, is making sure that our communities are whole and functional and successful and happy as they can be. And a good, strong foundational education is a heck of a start towards that. So even if you don't have children of your own, I think most people can see the importance of a community's children having a good, solid foundational education.
Absolutely.
I can
And the getting to spend time in the classroom once in a while, or getting your butt kicked in dodgeball by students. You should never get in. You should never agree to those, because they're going to annihilate you out there.
Wear helmet.
Yeah, wear a helmet.
And grin while they're at it.
Yeah, it is a
Get
good
tinnies.
time. That's the reward. And the reward is a job well done. Look, if all we got were 4 years at this, I know we've left the district much better than we found it. And I also know that with 4 more, it will get even better exponentially.
Well,
So-
and I just don't understand when people say, I don't have kids in the district anymore, like us. You're impacted by
Will
what
still
they
has 1,
learned.
but
Yeah.
he's close.
Yep.
2, he's close.
Or people that homeschool, well, I don't worry about what's going on in public education. Well, you should, because how
Do you
those
pay
kids are
taxes?
educated is going to
And do you pay
impact you.
taxes?
Do you run
Yes.
a business? Do you work with kids? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it important to you how your tax money is spent? I don't know anybody that's super happy about the way their tax money is spent.
No.
So, at least if as a district we can come in and do right by our students, that's doing right by our community, and you feel a little better about
Right.
that.
They do.
Well, anything else you guys want to share? I mean, I think it's been good, and I appreciate you coming back
Yeah,
on.
thanks,
with
Will.
us.
Yes, thanks,
We did-
Will.
I appreciate the invite.
Yeah,
It's good.
I to
always good to
clarify
talk.
some things.
Yeah, it's
and-
always good to talk.
Yeah.
It's hard sometimes when you can't, it's not a rebuttal or it's not a debate, but when you want to set the record straight, it's always
Right.
good to be able to come back and talk and let you know that there's a lot of research to be done out there, and
Absolutely.
research, the right answers will be found.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, you've been watching Mesa County Compass. This is the facts as we know them, the truth as we see it. You decide and vote.
Please, voting is the most important thing.
Yeah.
We need people to vote.
Vote.
Ballots will drop on the
13th.
13th.
Yes.
Yep, so watch your mailboxes for that, and check with your friends and neighbors. Make sure, if you've got maybe somebody that has a little trouble getting stamps or getting those ballots in, that you help them out. You can take
10.
up to 10
Yeah.
per election, that's it.
I do
but
have
you can do
one
that.
other thing to say too. You can see all of the candidates would be on the 13th of October at Stand for the Constitution. That's Appleton Christian Church. at 6:30 on that Monday evening. All of the candidates will be there, all have confirmed. So come and join us for that and listen to what they have to say at that forum.
Yes.
Perfect.
I think the more information you have, the better informed voters, the better school districts we're going to have.
Agreed.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Thank you
Ladies.
very
Here.
much.
Appreciate it.